We put the finishing touches on our truck after a busy Canadian summer of visiting family and friends and building our new overland vehicle. We've got our Chevy Colorado fully kitted up and we're ready for its first overland adventure. We're BAJA bound. We leave the cool Canadian fall weather behind as we race south in search of warmer temperatures and hopefully don't hit any snow along the way. We leave Edmonton, Alberta, making tracks with a long driving day and set up camp just outside of Cranbrook, BC, near the Canadian-US border at Mooey Lake Provincial Park. We were the only campers, and our quiet morning started with some friendly visitors. We crossed the border first thing in the morning, and it was fast and easy. We drove through the upper tip of Idaho, then into Washington State, and stopped in Oregon at Memalus State Park. We were up bright and early and on the move, chasing good weather. We made it to the Oregon coast and began heading straight south. Later that afternoon, we arrived at Ely Creek National Forest Campground. The next morning, we crossed the historic McCullough Memorial Bridge on the 101 highway connecting Coos Bay with North Bend, Oregon, on our way to Cape Blanco State Park. We arrived early and planned to stay here for a few nights. The park is oceanside and picturesque. It's located on the westerlymost point in all of the United States, so it can get a little bit windy here. The weather was clear, so our first stop was to check out the Cape and visit the lighthouse. We headed to our campsite, put up our new sign, and got camp all set up. The next morning, we headed to the trail that connects the camp to the beach to enjoy a coffee and walk. When we got back to camp, we were busy picking huckleberries. Oregon is well known for huckleberry picking. We couldn't let the fresh huckleberries go to waste. I decided to make huckleberry pancakes for breakfast. That afternoon, we went for a bike ride around the camp trails and out to the Cape. The coast of Oregon is truly a magical place. Here are all the different mushrooms we came across the past few days while on nature walks. The weather was cool and about to turn colder, so the next morning we packed up and were on the move further south. California, here we come. Our first Cali campground was over an hour off the highway in a remote forest just off the coast called Tolkien Campground. It's located within the King Range Natural Conservation Area. We settled into camp and Chris was busy chopping wood. We stayed for a few days and enjoyed the peace and quiet and some evening campfires. Definitely one of our favorite camps thus far. We continued along the 101 to San Francisco and crossed the Golden Gate Bridge. We have driven this route before and knew that the iconic bridge views are only traveling topside from south to north, and we were on the underside, traveling north to south. We stopped at Mount Madonna County Park and nestled into a great wooded campsite for the next few days. After a long driving day, we made it to another remote camp high in the California hills, about an hour from any civilization, or where we would go if there was a zombie apocalypse. This is Valley View Campground, another favorite, except it was about 5,000 feet in elevation and it was really, really cold when we were there, reaching 0 degrees Celsius at night. A bit too cold for camping, so we decided to leave the next morning. We arrived at our last camp before the US-Mexico border crossing, Kibitz Flat. The camp trail system is connected to the PCT, or Pacific Crest Trail, which is pretty cool. So while we were there, we did some hiking and we also went for a couple of bike rides. We enjoyed our last few days in the USA as our excitement was building for Baja. We're less than an hour from the Tecate border, where we will enter Baja California, Mexico. Baja is an overlander's dream and will be our home for the next 6 months. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next amazing adventure in Baja.